Okay, thank you, Antonio. For those who don't know me, I am Jacques Le Delliou, founding partner of PREDELL. PREDELL is a French company, IT company, focusing on B2B e-business, like EDI and so on, and traceability system. Let's start with a problem statement or a problem or current situation seafood value chain face as do other food chain. Traceability becomes a key purchasing criterion and will be increasingly. However, traceability is mandatory for food products in Europe for a long time. There are multiple directives and standards in this field. Anyway, companies didn't wait for Seafood Tomorrow to meet these obligations, but only individually. It's the point I want to focus. Individually, meaning company by company, what we call internal traceability, either thanks to local IT systems or manually using Microsoft Excel or even by using paper registers. However, the need for traceability lies at the level of the entire value chain, from end to end, from producer to consumer, what we call external traceability. Therefore, these local traceability devices are never linked together. We don't have precise figures concerning the number of actors of seafood of those value chains. In France, for the fish part, there are about 3,000. And if we add the mollusk sector, more than 80,000 are reached, including a large number of outlets which may have needs of traceability information. I don't want to extrapolate those figures to the European market, but on that basis, I think this number is not overestimated. In case of sanitary concern, the withdrawal of products takes too much time, especially due to the fact internal traceability systems are not linked together, as I have explained just before. PREDELL has developed similar systems in France, for example, in the poultry sector. Thanks to it, crises like current H5N8 influenza, authority can anticipate and faster and more targeted response is possible. Thus, fewer animals are slaughtered. Next. Of course, the major objective is to provide a digital system, traceability system for the seafood trade chain, system or solution. In addition to this objective, we have set ourselves the compatibility with both aquaculture and capture trade chains, the compliance with the community control regulation, and the deployment cost containment. So the system uses data given by all the actors of the trading chain. Medium and big companies only need to extract their data and send them to the cloud. Small companies use an existing PC or tablet to key their data. It's what we are going to see next. Don't forget. Principle of the system covers all the trading chain. The batch of seafood is the unitary object of the traceability. Batch meaning a combination of species, size, conditioning, and weight. There are batches produced at the beginning of the chain. We call them primary batch. There are batches produced along the chain from primary batch. We call them secondary batch. It's logical. All along the value chain, the batches are chained between them. We call this chain traceability links. And a QR code is printing on the final product. So all the actors making batches send the corresponding data to the system. From all this data, it is easy for the system to reconstruct the chaining from the farm to the plate and allow the consumer to scan the QR code and get information on the product and the corresponding batch. Companies send data to SEAFOODTOMORROW system automatically through computer-to-computer exchange, what we call EDI, represented by red arrows. It is a well-known practice in any industry for medium and big companies having large volume of data. For small companies, keying is very simple and an easy way to feed the system. It's the blue arrows on the schema. By the end of the value chain, companies include a QR code on the label of the product so the consumer can scan it and get product and traceability information. Mention to the system is multi-languages. To switch the language, it is only necessary to change the language option of internet browser of the computer and also on the smartphone. Prepare a small, quick demo, which is recording thanks to Shan. For the demo, Premier, the first company on the left side, is a farm which has produced a batch of salmon, which is P1 as the reference. In the true life, batch number are more complicated. The second Premier is included in the same group of company. Is a transformation activity which has produced the batch of fillets P11. And Malomar, another farm, has produced also a batch of salmon M1. At least Delmar, company focusing on secondary transformation, has produced salmon fillets, the final product, batch D1. And finally, as a consumer, I will scan the QR code on this batch. So you will see in the small demo, first a screen of the application of the system, cloud system, and in parallel you will see a smartphone, a replication of the smartphone on the screen. In this supply chain, we have two farms, Premier and Malomar, producing P1 and M1 batch as origin batches, and those both batches are used in Transformer Company, which is another brand of Premier, producing P11 batch, and P11 batch is used by Delmar Company, the second Transformer Company, to produce D1 batch, which is salmon, and on the package of the product, we can see the QR code, which will be used for scanning operation. I can see all the information concerning the batch, D1 with the name of the company, and all the information obtained concerning the batch and the product, history, product, nutritional information, storage, and by the end of the screen, I can see exactly the replication of the slide, dynamically showing the traceability path starting from P1 and M1 as origin batches, and after P11, and the last one, D1 batch. I will scan using my iPhone. Okay, the scan is done, and on the screen we can see first the picture of the product, the name of it, the information of the product, the composition, nutritional value, scrolling on the screen, and about traceability information, we can see the last operation provided on the D1 batch, which are packaging, seasoning, the cutting operation provided on PE level batch at the second transformation company, and by the end, the two origin batches, which are P1 from Premier and M1 from Maloma, exactly from the chain of the supply chain. So this application, which is multi-languages, is used by the consumer to scan the product and to have all the information of the product and batch of SEAFOODTOMORROW product. Now I propose to talk about potential business model canvas concerning the deployment of this system at European scale. And the first part of the business model is value proposition. I mentioned the advantages of information given to the consumer smartphone, confidence, know-how, valorization, consumer relationship, and also the last one, the possibility to locate products in the supply chain, especially in case of sanitary crisis. Concerning the key activity, all the IT activities link to the usage of the system, and very important in green, the governance, very important, including new words definition, and above all the capacity to ensure that the system is adopted is a key point. The key resource necessary, external traceability system are as defined before, and the idea is also to use the system as an internal traceability system. A second way to use the system before it is adopted in external mode, because it could take a long time for the entire supply chain to adopt the system. So why not use it locally, company by company, in short term? For the key partner, I mentioned PREDELL because PREDELL has designed and developed the system, but also something like New Corp, which does not exist yet. It might be an organization like a company or an association, whatever the legal form, which would play the role of governance maker based on what I call national seafood organization, which exists, I suppose, in practically all the country. After, on the consumer segment side, we would have precisely those organizations, what I call a national seafood organization. Also, the label orders, I mean by this an organization dedicated to the promotion of regional seafood or organic seafood or any other certification attractive for the consumer. And the third segment, of course, company spread in 4 sub-segments, traditionally big, medium, and small company, which do not have internal traceability systems. As a third type, I have called no batch maker, which are companies which do not produce batches, but want to get information about them. So, especially, as I mentioned just before, traceability system in the internal mode could be proposed to small company managing their own internal traceability. For channel, national IT sellers, consumer relationship new corp, because as I mentioned, new corp would be an organization for the governance and in relation with national seafood organization, label holders, and so on. And concerning channel, national IT sellers, IT companies, and why not website to get the system for small companies. When I mentioned the system, it's the usage of the system, the cloud system. It's not the usage of the smartphone system, which will be available for anybody. Concerning cost structure, we have all the costs relating to the IT operation, hosting, maintenance, and so on. And for the revenue side, a model could be used as we practice in other sector, based on for big, medium, and small companies, monthly fixed fee and price per batch, something like 0.2, 0.3, depending on the level of activity of the company. And for the no batch maker companies, a monthly fixed price. As a conclusion, it's a system for all the actors, as I hope you understood, of both aquaculture and capture value chain. And easy to use after some adaptation. There is a feedback we got from the companies having testing the system. And the key element, the key point is the adoption by experience. I know it is the adoption of the system. It is the last point. Before to end, I would like to congratulate Antonio for the his maestria for the management of the project. Thanks to Marta for his patience with some French partner, and thanks to Xian for the help in preparing the event.